Thank you, Dr. Long. Now we're going to go over to the CCFA Partners website and take a look at how it actually works. So as was mentioned before, let me back up a little bit. My name is Sue Johnson. I've been a patient with Crohn's disease since 1991. So tools like this are really exciting to me because I've seen the progress that's been made over the years in the study of Crohn's disease and the development of new therapies and progress towards finding the cause and the cure for this. So this is a really exciting development that patients like us can actually participate in. So when you get to CCFA Partners and register for CCFA Partners, you'll be asked to fill out a questionnaire, as Dr. Long mentioned before. And this will ask you your exercise habits, your sleep habits, your questions about your diet, things like that, your medications. So twice a year you will be asked to complete a survey, and what this does will update the database, because remember, the data that you input here is going to be helpful to researchers that are looking at the various questions. So not only is it helping researchers, but if you would like to track your health and see how you're feeling and compare your health from where you were 6 months ago, this is an ideal tool to do this. So the health data that you input will give you a summary of what you have input into your survey. And then you can also do health tracking by different time periods. So and you can select different factors of what you want to look at. So this is just one way of being able to track your disease activity and how it progresses from day to day. You may see that there's certain events in your life that maybe are a little more stressful, and you can see that your disease activity has changed because of that. So this is one way that you can track your own health activity. So then we can go over to My Health Measures. And this is from where you entered into the questionnaire and where you stood at that time. So this gives you a comparison of what the median is and where your score is at. So this is a demo ID, so these are not necessarily my scores, but this will just give you an idea of where you stand as far as the median goes. If your scores are a little bit lower than average, a little bit higher than average, and just give you an idea of where you stand on that. And these were all the things that Dr. Long mentioned on there too. And here's another way of looking at it, is my dashboard, and you saw a snapshot of this as well. And this will just give you another look into where you stand as compared to others as far as your scores go. And then we have my connections. So, and this is where whatever app or device you may be using that you would like to connect to your data on CCFA Partners, you can connect from here. So as you can see, we've got a good variety of apps and devices that you can connect to. So this is a real exciting aspect of it, and I think one that can add a little bit of fun to it, because you can track your activity against your disease activity and see what influences another thing. So as we mentioned too before, is that this is also an opportunity to be able to participate in presenting research questions and being involved in what actually gets looked at. So here's where you see the most voted on research questions right now. And this website is going under a little bit of a redesign, so some of the things you might see might be named a little bit differently in the future. But as you can see, here are some of the top questions that have been asked recently. Some of these questions were in the slide as well. And here's where you get to cast your vote, whether you feel that this is an important research question that you would like to see a little more attention be made to it. Then we have active studies, and these are studies that are actually in the works, that you can see what's going on in the researchers that are looking at this, who's participating. And one of the things when you sign up for partners too is at some point you may be contacted based on your responses to your questionnaires to see if you have an interest in participating in different studies. So for example, there's also 2 other members of my family who suffer from Crohn's disease. So if there's a question or a study that's being done on family history or family connections, I may be contacted to see if I would like to participate in a study about some genetic components of this. So that's what's really kind of neat about this too, is that it gives you an opportunity to potentially participate in some studies. So then we go to, we can look at completed research. And these are studies that have already been done. And as Dr. Long mentioned, here you'll see the summaries and the abstracts that have been completed on these studies. So you can see what's already been worked on. And then my contributions, this is where this tracks how many surveys that you've completed. So if you don't remember that you've completed a survey in the last 6 months, here's a log of how many surveys you've completed and when you've completed them. The members page will give you an idea of how many members we have, how many have completed social profiles, and you can see where people are across the United States and even across the world, and where a lot of these patients are located that are participating in partners. So this is always kind of interesting to see where everybody's coming from. And then there's blog posts, and you can see that different people have contributed to this. We have researchers. We also have people from the Patient Governance Committee contribute here. So it's a great page to see kind of what's been happening and what other people are talking about. So one of the things when you participate in the research studies is that you can see like what level you're at. So you can look at, well, how many surveys have I responded to? Am I completing enough? There's a feature where you can check in on a daily basis where you just update a few questions about how you're feeling today, if you're having any abdominal pain, and a couple other simple questions. And this tracks just how many you've completed. Research Proposer tells you what level you're at, whether you've submitted any research questions, whether you've voted on some, whether you've actually discussed any, and then the community face. And this is where if you've created a social profile. So this is the basic overview of the partners website. I encourage everyone to check it out, go out there and certainly register for it and take the surveys, because this is the heart of CCFA partners in helping to create the data that are going to help the researchers. Can we go back to the slides, please? So just to summarize that again, we encourage everyone to enroll in CCFA partners. The data that you enter in there is going to be completely confidential. So all you need to do is put in an email address, but your data will never be shared with anyone. Your privacy is protected there, your name, address, anything about that is going to be completely secure. And this will help to create the database so that we have the largest U.S. study on the impact of IBD. And this is going to help all the research that the scientists are using, because this is actually reported from the patient. And again, as I said, you may be contacted for possible participation in other studies. And the impact that this has to all patients is tremendous, because this is going to help advance the knowledge of what is actually causing IBD and what therapies can be created to help prevent IBD. And it's a win-win for everyone here. So I encourage everyone to participate in the partner